Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Happy holidays, I guess?
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football.
Come on, you foxes!
It's the Opposition Show with Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. Taking a look back at the game.
Right, Chris.
All right there, all right the back. How are we doing? In fact, how the devil are you, as my little friend here would say. A lot of matches coming up, but we're going to be talking about the one at the weekend. I don't know about Sleigh Ride. We should have been playing Let It Snow, shouldn't we? It was getting us right in the Christmas mood. This is Leicester Till I Die, and we're going to be looking back at the Leicester-Watford game with Mike from the Voices of the Vic podcast, and we'll bring him in. This is Leicester Till I Die. This is where you can watch us and where you can listen to us as well.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
It is, and I tell you what, it's going to be really nice to speak to Mike. A, because in fairness, and I'm sorry to say this, Mike, we won, which has been a couple of games since then, so doing these haven't been as nice. But B, of course, it is the return, if I just dunk my head there, of King Claudio. And we're going to be asking Mike what his thoughts on Mr. Ranieri are. Is he the man for Watford? And if he is, how long is he going to be the man for?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. 60 minutes of football fun and banter with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV. Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble.
Mike, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Shame I'm not only here to talk about a win, as you said in there. But no, thank you very much for having me. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming on. And like I say, I feel your pain because the last two of these we did Arsenal and Chelsea. They've not been the most fun to do. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about where people can find you and listen and watch and whatever with you.
Yeah, so we're on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you get your podcasts, really. It's at Voices of the Vic on Twitter and Instagram, and it's just simply Voices of the Vic on Spotify and everywhere else, and Facebook. And I've supported Watford now for 20 odd years. As you can tell from this accent, I'm not originally from Watford. I am born in Birmingham. My old man was born in Watford, hence why I follow him. But I'm actually living at the moment on the border of Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire. So I had a few Leicester City fans who are friends message me after the game, and it was a bitter one to take, Chris.
Ex-friends, do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't say I'm a Leicester fan. I live actually on the south coast, just outside Bournemouth. My kids were born in Burnley, where I lived for 20 odd years, and I said I don't mind who you support. You can support Burnley if you sort of really want to, because you're born there, and all your mates will be supporting Burnley. I said, or you can support Leicester because your dad does, but you're not supporting Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, or any of them just because they're always on the TV. But I mean, did you get a chance? Obviously, with your living situation, did you get a chance to go on Sunday? Sorry.
I didn't know. I play football on a Sunday, and because of the weather around here, I thought it might be called off. Which, if that was the case, I was going to make the last minute dash over to Leicester, but unfortunately, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know what you'd say, but I didn't get a chance to go down to the King Power. But we don't tend to win much at your place. I think I was actually at the last game that we won at your place when Chalobah scored that rocket the season that we played each other in the playoffs, 12-13 season. So it's not the best ground for us Watford fans, but nice and local for me.
I thought you were going to say then, and I would have allowed it. You were there when you beat us in the playoff semi-final.
I was there. I was at the games. Yeah, I was at the one at the King Power, and I was at the one at the Vicarage Road as well.
That was, I mean, just to quickly touch on that, in a way, it almost did us a favour.
Yeah.
We went on from that. We kept hold of Nigel Pearson, and next year we absolutely stormed the division. But I was watching it with my two sons, and we're trying, it's a penalty. And I always blame my eldest for this, because he turned to me and he went, "Yeah, but he's got to score it yet, Dad."
Yeah.
He nearly got adopted that day.
You boys absolutely stormed the league the next season. I went to we were the early game the next season, and you boys just ran amok, and I knew that Knockout was going to score in the end where he missed that penalty. It was just the stars were aligned for it to happen.
Exactly.
But you boys were incredible that next season, and Pearson done a great job, and unfortunately he couldn't quite do the same job with us, but I liked him.
Now that's really weird, and well, let's talk about now. First of all, just say hi to Jason. How are you doing? And Static, good evening, sir. How the devil are you? I mean, I must admit, because you got Pearson and Shakespeare, didn't you? They came together, and obviously that they were the ones that got us up, had us that great season, did the Great Escape with us, and I thought they were going to do it with you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I must say as well, it sounds like Shakespeare behind the scenes. He's a massive massive part of Nigel Pearson's way of working, and he's a big character. And he's been working with Dean Smith. Dean Smith then lost his job at Aston Villa, and it was rumoured that we were going to get Shakespeare back before Smith was appointed at Norwich, and I would have welcomed that with open arms. But I don't know if I think I read somewhere there was perhaps a rift between Ranieri and Shakespeare. I don't know. I didn't completely read into it. Ranieri and Shakespeare, because I think they worked together very briefly.
It was very strange, because we'd obviously won the league, and Ranieri had come in. We'd sacked Pearson because of off the field activities. I mean, basically his son in Thailand, and it was really weird because Ranieri came in. He brought his own backroom staff in, and it was a brilliant decision. He kept Shakespeare and a couple of other backroom staff as well. So there was quite a smooth takeover, the fact that Shakespeare knew all the players and could advise him. But then, of course, we had all the rumours about, the players are against Ryan in the second season. And this, I'm going to ask you this in a second, because when we'd got Ranieri, I was actually one of the ones that said, great signing. If he hadn't actually at that point won a title, but he'd won cups, got teams into second, third, and what have you. Said if you can do that for Leicester, I'd be more than happy. And then somebody said, but he only ever does it for like the first couple of seasons, and then it always tails off. Which was obviously very true. The next season, we were flirting with relegation. Like I said, there was a lot of rumours about whether, Ranieri had lost the dressing room, and Shakespeare replaced Nigel Pearson, Ranieri.
Yeah.
So you can read 2 and 2 and get sort of 4.5 out of that, maybe. But Shakespeare did all right when he first got in, but again, he's a good number 2. I don't think he's quite ready for the number 1. Some people, they know as Jason says here, top goat shaky, and I would have him back at the drop of a hat, definitely as number 2. Brad, good evening, Brad. How the devil are you, sir? But yeah, so what happened? I mean, Nigel Pearson, he came in for you a couple of seasons ago. You're doing really, really well, and then suddenly he left.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all hearsay, but they reckon there was a bit of a rift between him and the players after the West Ham game. So obviously it was hard for the football. Well, can you say hard because they paid the money they are? They should really be able to play in any condition. But it was tough for the players because when Project Restart started. After COVID, our first game back was against your lot, of course, the 1-1. But we had a massive game against West Ham, who also that season were relegation candidates. And that was a game that we had to look at because we had Man City up the game after, and then we finished with Arsenal on the last day of the season. So West Ham was really the one before those 2 tough games where we really needed to be looking at getting 3 points, 1 point at the absolute worst, and we just fell apart. We lost 3-0. Messina was brought off at half time. There's rumours that there was a bit of a punch up between Pearson and Messina, but actually that's alleged. That's nothing confirmed allegedly, with that. But I don't know what it is. I felt really sorry for Pearson because when he first come in, I'll hold my hands up here. When he first come in, I wasn't happy. I thought I thought he's done it with Leicester and whatnot, but I just didn't think he had what it took because we were in a real bad rut. We hadn't. I think it took us till almost half the season. I can't remember exactly to pick up our first win. So we were really behind the rest of the pack. So I just thought that Pearson wasn't the guy to do it. And then he proved us wrong. We had a brilliant win against Manchester United at home. We had the brilliant win against Liverpool at home, but we were losing silly points. And the game that killed us, we lost to Aston Villa 2-1 in the last minute. And I was at that game and it was heart-wrenching. It was absolutely horrible to be at. They scored in the 90th minute and we lost. And again, another relegation candidate. So whether his tactics just weren't up for it when they were going to be scrappy games, which I would have thought Nigel Pearson would have, he's done it before, got teams out of relegation battle before. So, really gutted for Pearson because it's not quite worked out for him and it's not exactly going to plan for him at Bristol City at the moment. So
I think he's off ill, isn't he, at the moment?
He's caught COVID twice, if memory serves me correct. So really unlucky, and obviously that's not helping him. But I did like Pearson. I thought he gave his best for us, and I think there's still a few Watford fans that felt a bit hard done by that he was sacked, to be honest. So I'm gutted. I was gutted for him when he left.
Rennie, I am well. How the devil are you? Facebook user Nigel is like Marmite. Marmite. Yes, he is. You did love him or hate him. I thought he was a great manager. Brad says here, I just don't get how you sack a manager that gets you out the bottom 3 with 1 game to go. It's weird decisions that made. I mean, I know with there's 2 sides to Nigel Pearson. I mean, a lot of fans meet him outside after the games and what have you. And I met him when he was at Bournemouth, but he came into us. He came in when he kept Southampton up in the 2nd tier, came to us in the 3rd tier, got us straight back up after 1 season, which is no mean feat. And then he walked out on us, well, allegedly, went to Hull. We got him back in, and the rest, as I say, were history. But I know, had he not done what he'd done, then we wouldn't have won the Premier League the following season. But I do wonder if he's a bit like, and I always said with Nigel Clough was brilliant when he had Peter Taylor with him. As soon as he didn't have Peter Taylor with him, he wasn't half the manager. And I think it's the same with Nigel and Shaky, because they've been all round together, and I think that was the thing. I think he'd have probably kept you up because he had done it with Leicester. We were bottom longer than any other team that survived, and we survived with a game or so to go. But I've got to say, I mean, I know you're owned by Italians, and I know the Italians do this a lot. They do change the managers of the club. But is it frustrating for you? Because you're just not getting any consistency, are you?
For me personally, no. And I think, and I don't mean this to sound disrespectful to any other fan other than Watford fans, but I think you have to have an understanding of how the Pozzos work to understand the ruthlessness. I would arguably say the only time it's not worked was that season that we went down. We've done it every other season and it's worked for us. So we sacked Javi Gracia, who led us to our best Premier League finish, and he led us to an FA Cup final. Admittedly, we got absolutely spanked in the final by Man City, but it was still a great day. It
was Man City, wasn't it?
Exactly. They're a class above. So. He lost his job the next season. There was rumours that the players were kicking up a fuss because of bonuses that weren't paid, etc. As all the hearsay that goes on in the background. But the decision to bring Quique Sanchez Flores back in 2019-20 season was a terrible decision. Like when he was first with Watford, it was the unknown. Nobody knew how his football was going to be. Like the Pozzos do, they find these managers that might not be a bigger name to everyone else, but they'll keep a close eye on them. And I think, okay, he's a good fit. He could be a good fit. So Sanchez Flores, first time round, superb. Yeah, we tailed off towards the end of the season, the first year that we come up in 15-16. But the decision to bring him back, I think that's the only one that I really grumble with. I think obviously bringing Sanchez Flores back, as I say, was a wrong decision. Sacking Nigel Pearson, should he have been given a little bit longer? It's tough to say because after that West Ham game, we only had 2 games left, if memory serves me correct, and that was against Man City and Arsenal. Would he have got us points against them? It's tough to say because obviously he wasn't there, and it would be unfair of me to say. But other than that, I really don't mind it. It works. We sacked the manager last season and we were in the playoffs, and many football fans looked at it and thought, Watford are in the playoffs. Why are they sacking the manager? It was clear for us Watford fans to see that something just wasn't right behind the scenes, and the decision paid off because we got promoted in the end. And the way we were heading under Vladimirovic last season, we'd have been lucky to scrape the playoffs, let alone go up automatically like we did under Xisco Munoz. So I don't mind it. Like I say, the only grumble I had was that season that we went down. Other than that, it works. And I think you pointed it out there, Chris, before. It's the Italian way. Claudio Ranieri was pressed on it when he first joined the club. What do you think of Watford sacking the managers and having as many managers as they do? And he said, in Italy, this is normal. And we're not in Italy, but our owners, that's what they live and breathe. That's where they're from, etc. So I've not got a problem with it on the whole. I think it works. And
it works
I think
for Chelsea, doesn't it?
Well, this is it. I think going forward, you'll actually see a lot more teams do it. I think the ruthlessness and the competitiveness of football nowadays, that people are going to do it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see. I mean, I think Nottingham Forest have had the same amount of managers in the timescale that we have. They've possibly had more. I think Manchester United, they've had quite a few managers since Alex Ferguson left. It's only because it keeps getting brought up when we do it. There are clubs that have similar records to us, so it's becoming quite the norm, I think, in this day and age.
There's a question from a Burnley fan, and I'll come back to that later. So I haven't forgotten you, Dan. I think this is somebody you might know. Tell Mike he's not a real Elton John fan.
He's
You're
not
a
wrong.
Rocket Man, aren't you? Is he still involved in the club?
He's the honorary life president, so
Is it?
he's
Oh, right.
actually doing his farewell tour next year, and
Right.
he's finishing off with 2 shows at Vicarage Road. So yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
brilliant news
Okay.
for us.
So going back to sort of young manager, I think what surprised us was I think when you sacked I can never pronounce
Yeah,
these
Munaf.
foreign names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when you I think you were one place below us and only something like a point worse off than us. I think it was the speed at which you did it this year.
I think it was the right decision. I think it was the right time as well. Yes, this again, this is what frustrates us as Watford fans. They look at us in the table and think, well, hang on a minute, they're not in a relegation zone. Why are they kicking off? What are they expecting? But the way that we were heading, the performances under Cisco Munath, he was doing his coaching badges whilst the Premier League had granted special access for him to manage in the Premier League whilst doing them, because he didn't actually have the
All
specific
right.
qualifications or whatever you call it to manage in the Premier League. So he'd been granted special access. So we did perhaps worry that he would be a little bit out of his depth. You know, when he got promoted last season, we thought we'll give him a chance because he's gotten us promoted. He's, you know, he's gone against what many Watford fans thought he'd be able to do. So we thought we'll give him a chance. But the performances, there was just no plan. I don't get to go to many games because I manage an open age team myself on a Saturday, so it clashes. But I went to Leeds away, which was ultimately his last game. And Leeds I don't think they'd won when we played them. And they're not having the best season so far. But there was just no plan. Like, it was as if he'd put that team out and he says, just try and win the game, just do what you can. There was no plan, there was no style to anything we were trying to do. Newcastle, we drew with them at home. Arguably, you'd be looking at trying to pick up 3 points there. I think Troy Deeney used to say before, with teams like us, we have to create our own mini leagues. We're not going to be able to compete with the likes of Chelsea. If we get, points against them, then brilliant, yeah. But we have to have our own mini leagues, the likes of Burnley, Leeds, Newcastle, Norwich, and you have to win those games. So to draw with Newcastle at home, if it wasn't for Ben Foster, they'd have battered us. We'd have lost that game. And again, there was no style, no substance to how we were playing. So yeah, it shocked many because they saw where we were in the table, etc. But trust me, if we'd have carried on, we'd have been on a very slippery slope. We wouldn't. I don't like saying this because he's obviously not had the chance to prove himself. But I don't think we'd have won any of the games that we have since Ranieri's took over. Granted, it's only been 2 that we have won under him, but I don't think we would have been able to have won those 2 games under Cisco Munath the way that he was playing. So again, the right decision for me. But I get to, we as Watford fans and content creators, you sort of keep an eye on the pulse, see what's going on. So for fans outside of the club, you probably would be thinking, why on earth have they sacked him?
Can I just say, do Watford fans drink a lot? I wasn't timed with you just doing that. Then
possibly, yeah.
I'm just wondering because with this prediction, I think you just might be.
So the fellow that's behind that account is the 3rd member on our podcast. He's called James, and he's got his own one. And James is known for he's not wrong with that comment as well. Unfortunately, Watford lead me to that, but he's known for his outlandish predictions. And the 1 week he never give one was when we beat Manchester United 4-1. That's 1 week he didn't give an outlandish prediction, and then we go and beat Man United 4-1. So,
well, I thought we'd done really well to beat Man United 4-2, and then you went and did it. So maybe we got them at a good time. But before I just come on to Claudio, just a very quick question here from Dan, Turf Moorhouse TV, great channel. Go over there, guys, if anybody's watching, and give him a sub. As a Burnley fan and knowing what he's like as a gaffer, do you wish you had kept Dyche on? Obviously, the Poachers had their own idea, but it's been a merry-go-round since then.
Yeah, I felt so bad for Daishi when he come in. Well, when he got relieved of his duties, but it was always going to happen. You know, you hear of these takeovers happen, and they have their own vision. Look at Brentford, for example. Look at Newcastle more recently. You know, they're bringing their own people in, and you know they've got a vision of how they want their football club to run. So. I was gutted for Daishi because he'd actually led us to our highest finish in the table for some years, and I'm sure he will. The fellow that posed the question will know how well Daichi's at grinding out results. I know Burnley are down there at the moment, but I don't for 1 minute think they'll stay down there because he's just got a knack of getting results and getting performances out of players. Do I think Daichi would have been able to get us promoted with crop of players that was brought in? I don't. I think their Pozzo's brought their own man in because they knew their plan was, right, we're going to bring a smattering of players from Udinese, who they own, and Granada, who they owned at the time as well. With this foreign influx of players coming in, would Sean Dyche have maybe been able to get a tune out of them? I don't think so because they, and I mean this with no disrespect to Dyche or Burnley, but Dyche is very one-dimensional with how he wants to play because he's got the players to do it and it works. And like I say, that's no disrespect to him. I think if it gets you results, fair game, do it. But with the players that he was brought in, it was very clear that we were going for a change of personnel and change of style of how we wanted to do things.
And just to say, Dan, don't want to rub it in at all, but Watford are 4 points and 2 positions above you at the moment.
Don't say that, but that's definitely jinxed us now, Chris.
Dan knows what I'm like. He knew there'd be an insult coming on the end of my comments about him somewhere. I mean, you can see from the shirt behind me, a signed Ranieri shirt there from the season you won. You know, this is we hold this guy, and the reception he got on Sunday was absolutely amazing.
I can imagine.
I mean, he was nearly in tears, but once obviously the whistle went, then it's a different matter. But he did struggle the next season, and he had to go, unfortunately, because we were flirting with that rally. I think we were sort of 17th at one point, if not 18th. So you know, he'd made his changes. He'd gone into Fulham, but not been able to keep them up. What were your thoughts when you first heard that it was Ranieri that was coming in?
I was happy with it. You know, you look at his CV; he's got an incredible CV, hasn't he? So I was very happy with it. Yes, he didn't do well with Fulham, and again, I'm slagging off a lot of clubs here now. But and again, I mean this with no disrespect to Fulham, but I like to think that the foundations that we have in place, behind the scenes, etc., are stronger than perhaps when he went into Fulham. The foundations which Nigel Pearson left for Ranieri to build on. Obviously, he won them the league. I'm not expecting that with Ranieri for us, as nice as it would be. But it's clear and evident to see that if he's left with the foundations, he can do a good job. And it's evident to see how he wants to set us up at the moment. It's just a shame that our defence just does not want to play ball, and you know. We are struggling a lot with defensive injuries, so that's not going to help matters. But you can see what he's trying to do.
We feel your pain on that one, Mike. We really do.
Attacking wise, we look superb, but defensively, it's almost like he's trying to do what he can, but he's just being let down by the defenders on the pitch. So I was happy with it. I thought, good appointment. Knows the league. Not afraid to come up against the big boys, you know, whether he's done it for Liverpool, whether he's done it for Chelsea in the past. He knows how to beat these big teams. So I was very, very happy with the appointment.
Liverpool, I think, was his first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
It was a baptism with fire, that one. And you got to kind of say, with first games are always difficult because you are expecting a new manager bounce, but when your first game is Liverpool and he's come in completely sort of, you know, from Italy, but since after that, I mean, you then lost, I think, obviously to Watford, but then it started. You got the Newcastle draw, the Norwich win. Well, that was a big win for you. Then Wolves, and Spurs. It's been kind of mixed, Brighton, Oh no, I'm going backwards. I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling
Yeah,
backwards.
Ranieri's first game was the 5-0 loss.
The 5-0. And then you got.
we-
I was waiting for the Everton result to come up.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was. I was scrolling down instead of up. But yeah, I mean, what a game against Everton.
Honestly, Watford are one of them teams at the moment. My boss summed it up perfectly to me. He's an Arsenal fan, and he said Watford are the team at the moment in any league that you just wouldn't bet on, because you don't know if they're going to lose, you don't know if they're going to win. There's no in between with us at the moment. We lost to Liverpool 5-0. We got an absolute tonking, and then the next week we played Everton and we conceded even earlier than we did against Liverpool. And I was sat there and I was thinking, please don't do this again. And then we go and win 5-2. And it was incredible. And going forward, like I say, we were brilliant. At the back, questionable again, but that we have our problems at the moment because of injuries. And then I thought, right, this is, Ranieri didn't quite have the first new manager bounce that we expected or hoped, but I thought, right, this is it now. We've won that game quite emphatically. The players will be on a high. Let's go and do something else. The next game after that, we lose 1-0 at home to Southampton. Another game which we should really be winning, or at least taking a point from. And it's like, oh, Christ. And then we've been on this horrible, horrible run where we've had Arsenal, Man U, Leicester, we've got Chelsea tomorrow, then we've got Man City at home. So you're looking at those 5 games and you're thinking, crap, we're in trouble here. We've obviously beaten Man U. We couldn't quite get a result against you boys, but there's been some performances like, we lose to.
It's giving you hope, hasn't it?
I think so. It's just so topsy-turvy at the moment. I just don't know what to expect from us game by game. Obviously beating you, you'd think, it'd give you the boys a massive, confidence boost, and we go into the game against you lot, and you've said it yourself. You guys have been struggling as well, so we would have been looking at that, thinking the least we can do is come away with a point at Leicester. We don't do. And then we've blooming up Chelsea and Man City the next 2 games. So it really wouldn't surprise me. We'll either get absolutely tonked against both of them, or we'll pull out a freak result. So it's frustrating, but you can see what Ranieri's trying to do, and I think it'll click. I think he'll keep us up. I really, really do. But we have to get defensive enforcements in January. It's always tough in January transfer window because you're never going to get someone's best defender or best player, but we have to try and do something in terms of getting defenders through the door, because we're going to lose a hell of a lot of players to AFCON as well, and our injury list was released today. Sar's going to be out for at least a month. Emmanuel Dennis is injured because he picked up a knock against you boys. Ben Foster's injured for at least a month. Our new defender who we signed on a free a couple of weeks ago, he's injured for at least a month. So we need bodies in January, and if we make the right signings, Ranieri, he's got us firing on all cylinders with the front three. We're probably going to struggle a little bit now because we don't know how long Dennis is out for, and Sar's going to be out for a while. And if he does go to AFCON, we're going to struggle as well. But I think Ranieri's got the right ideas and knows what he's doing. I think he'll keep us up, absolutely.
You could almost be talking about our season as well there. It's like almost word for word. But we're going to look at the game now and very quickly. I mean, neither of us were there, but obviously we've both seen highlights or seen the match.
I watched the match,
We'll be back straight after this. Yeah, if you go on to the BBC website, as you know, every Tuesday they have a Tuesday talking point for each team. Unfortunately, I'm the one that does it for Leicester, so you've got to read me. And funny enough, just talking about what Mike was talking about, this week I've actually called it "A week is a lifetime in football." You know, they say a week is a long time in politics. A week ago, we were all sat here like, what's going to happen with our season? Since then, we've gone out. We've beaten Legia Warsaw in the Europa League. We've gone from bottom to top of that group. We've beaten you guys. It's such. 2 games on, and we've sat here with big smiles with Jeremy Clarkson's smug face. But if you go on, say BBC website, BBC Football, Leicester City homepage, and the Tuesday Talking Point, you can have a read as well as listen to me. You can read me as well. But it was a little bit. Well, I mean, here's for me is the picture of the day. I mean, it's almost like spot the ball. I actually thought, I think we were 3-1 up at the time, because if you see the first goal, there wasn't any snow anywhere. No. And it comes to the second, the last few goals, and, we had to stop the game, didn't they, to clear the lines. I thought this is going to get called off, typical because we're winning. I believe your goalkeeper, it wasn't Ben Foster, but I believe your goalkeeper was actually calling for it to be called off.
I'm not surprised. It was terrible. I managed to find a stream for the game, and that second half, when we scored that second with Emmanuel Dennis, I didn't know it went in. I had to wait for the commentator. Yeah. I had to wait for the crowd to cheer. I was like, has it gone in? Has it gone in? And I saw Bachmann complaining in goal for us, but the less said about his performance, the better, which is a shame, because he's been voicing his disapproval of him not being in the team over Ben Foster, and then he gets his chance and doesn't have the best of games. So
no, I'm completely with you there. That your second goal, I was watching it and I couldn't see he'd kicked it. I couldn't tell where the ball had gone. Literally, it could have gone anywhere. There's rumours as well, and I don't know how this true is, and I think it's a bit unsportsmanlike if it's true, that James Maddison shouted to leave the ball for the first goal.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I think Musa Sissoko said in a pre-match interview on our website, on the Watford website, that he gave, saying that he heard a call, and something similar happened to us a few years ago when Chalobah was about to shoot. Harry Arter shouted leave it, so he left it, and then Harry Arter got the ball, and the attack sort of crumbled. So if it is true, it's very unsportsmanlike. It should be a free kick in the yellow cards, but at the end of the day, that's not defendable for me. Truce to Kong, you've got to head it clear. If Bachmann did shout for it, give him a grilling after. Say, listen, mate, I shouted for that. Deal with it after. At least the danger's averted. The fact that he ducked under the ball, it should be natural for him to go in. I was really disappointed with Truce to Kong's performance, and I have been for the last few. I thought he was at fault for a number of things on Sunday's game, and
it's just I don't, I mean, if it was your goalkeeper that shouted for it, it looks a bit odd, because you would have thought you would have then been coming for it, which he wasn't.
Yeah.
But that said, whether he gets the shout or not, he couldn't probably see Maddison. He could see Vardy and thought he was the main threat. There was nobody in front of him. Just play safe. I think as a defender, if in doubt or whatever, just boot it into Rowe's head.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I said the exact same thing on my podcast last night. I said you cannot take those chances. Like I said, if Bachmann did call it and then Truce to Kong cleared it, let them have a go at each other as much as they want. At least the danger was averted. But you cannot take those sort of chances. And, it's all if and buts. If he did shout for it, if Maddison did shout for it to leave it. But at the end of the day, it's professional football. We have to be a bit more savvy. I think Ben Foster picked up on it a few weeks ago when we played at Arsenal. Danny Rose kicked the ball out because our player was down. Then Arsenal played on and eventually scored from it, and they probably should have played it back, but at the end of the day, you have to be smart, especially in the Premier League. You'll get punished, and we have done twice now. So
yes. And then, I mean, I'm starting a crowdfunding page up to buy Wilfred Ndidi, one of those great things you put around your ankles when the police let you out, because it should go off and give him an electric shock every time he sets foot in our penalty box. I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, fantastic first name on the sheet every time. But my God, he likes giving penalties away. It was 2 in 2 games, and I mean, it's a penalty because it touched his hand. I think you could argue that, maybe if Sancho hadn't have got a touch on it, then it wouldn't have gone to his hand. But he shouldn't have had his hand up there anyway. And I thought, well, there we go. We've not had a clean sheet all season, and you know about that as well. We had one on the first day, and that's been it, which I think is one more than you. So there was always going to be goals, but you got the penalty.
Yeah, I think Emmanuel Dennis, I think it was that one. I don't recall there being the ball being handled. I thought it was more that Ndidi kicked Emmanuel Dennis. I
think as he went up, his hands were up.
Right.
But as it came across, it could have caught his hand or arm, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, Emmanuel Dennis is a handful for us. He's vastly becoming my favourite Watford player since Troy Deeney left, and he's just brilliant. And it's a shame that he's injured. He picked up a knock. I think it was when he was chasing the ball down in the second half. I can't remember who it was that actually clipped him, but yeah, it's frustrating because he's been doing really, really well. And as I mentioned earlier, that with that African Cup of Nations, he's not been called up to Nigeria yet, and the form he was in, it was surely only a matter of time, and we would have lost him as well. So he's a right handful, as you guys saw, and yeah, I thought it was a really good penalty from Josh King. It was a good height for Schmeichel, but I think there was that much power on it. It's nice to see someone be able to do that since the departure of Troy, because Troy always used to just thump it down the middle and that was your goal. So yeah, happy for Josh King. He's got his 5th of the season. Emmanuel Dennis, 5th of the season. So our regular front three now between them have 15 goals already so far, which is brilliant for a team where we are in the table. So it shows we got the firepower, but at the back, we're not as good.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it. We're on a thing like, you score 2, we'll score 3, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But talking of scoring goals, the old man came out and got a couple back. Every season I'm saying, is this going to be his last season? Is this going to be his last season? I don't know when it is going to be his last season, but I mean, that chip he had in from the byline, how he got that in, I don't know. It was amazing.
Yeah, he always seems to score against us, Vardy does. He's one of them players, and it's usually what he does is he will find space. He plays off the last man, and he will find space, run off his last man, go through 1-on-1, and then the keeper has no choice but to try and win the ball. And they usually, because of the pace of Vardy, bring him down. And then he wins a penalty, and he'll probably score the resulting penalty. But yeah, it was a brilliant goal from Vardy to chip it in from that angle. Brilliant. I think I can't remember whether it was his first one or his second one where he peeled off his man at a corner. The one from the corner.
Yeah, that was his second one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was really poor marking from Josh King. Josh King's just jumped up for the sake of looking like he's trying to win it, but he's lost his marker way too easily. And my co-host mentioned earlier in our podcast, that's not the first time where the marking's been a bit iffy from corners. I think Josh King was marking Cristiano Ronaldo at the weekend. Luckily for us, he didn't danger us, but you'd surely have a defender on someone as potent as him, and same with Jamie Vardy. So to have a striker mark him, I really don't understand what the purpose behind that was. But
you're talking to the team that is promoting zonal marking at the moment, so we don't like it, and we're all with you on that one. And not so long ago, Jamie Vardy did exactly the same, but into his own net. So it's nice that he can do it at the other end as well. Beyond the 90, Neil, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? The photos of Claudio having pictures with the Leicester faithful. He is such a lovely bloke. He really is. He can't. We should have a statue to him, but we probably never will. And then you got it back to 3-2, and I've got to be honest with you. I thought, here we go. Because it was always going to be on the cards. Claudio coming back. The game wasn't going to be called off at that, but by then, it was 60 minutes. It looked like it was going to be playing on. It was tending to sort of stop snowing a little bit. Although at that point, like we both said earlier, I couldn't see the ball going in. I was looking, has it gone in? Has it gone wide? Did Casper grab it? at 3-2, I was thinking, this is the comeback. And did you think at that point it was possibly you could get a point?
Absolutely. And it's a credit to our front three this season. 3-1 down. Most teams you'd think down and out. Yeah, there's plenty of time back in the game. But Emmanuel Dennis doing what Emmanuel Dennis has been doing so far this season, pressing. Whether the weather had anything to do with it, I can't remember who. I think it was Castagna that got caught on the ball, and then he went down. And when that goal went in, because of the weather, I mean, it's the same for both teams, but you just did not know. Would either keeper be struggling with salt? Would anyone be struggling?
Yeah.
And it could have really been a free-for-all. But yeah, when that second goal went in for us, I thought we got plenty of time here. We keep pressing because I genuinely think that going forward, we looked really, really good. But it was just defensively. I've had a few of my mates who are Leicester fans saying, going forward, you look very, very good.
Yeah.
But defensively, we were all over the place, which what cost us. But absolutely, at 3-2, I thought, yes, we got a chance here. But that Lookman goal killed it stone dead.
Yes.
That knocked the winds massively out of our sails.
Yeah.
That did.
We have a habit, Leicester, of doing this. And I'm surprised that teams are getting caught out like this, because you're always told, whether you're doing kids football or whatever, that the times that you've got to be really, really on your game and really concentrate is just after you've scored.
Yeah.
And we've got a habit recently of when the opposing team score, we will get a goal within the next 5 or 6 minutes after that. And we did it twice with yourselves. And I thought, Lookman, he's scored twice this season, but both times it was ruled out by VAR. So it was nice to see him get one. And I think he's going to be a great player for us. And he's got him on loan. Hopefully we're going to go and sign him. But I think at 4-2, I must admit, I was sat there and I did go, phew, thank God for that,
Absolutely.
And then just praying that it wasn't going to get called off.
Yeah, I mean, there was the talking point of Adam Messina for us being tackled in the build-up. I can't remember who it was. There was a coming together in the middle, but I'm obviously going to say that I think it was a foul because I'm a Watford fan and I've got my Watford tinted glasses on. But I do think that VAR let us down there. They didn't even look at it, I don't think. But as you say, you're at your most vulnerable when you've just scored, and it's rookie stuff, as you say. You taught it from a small age, so yeah, really disappointing because we then had 7 minutes of injury time, and if it was 3-2, and we still after conceding the fourth, we were still pressing, but. Yeah, 3-2 with 7 minutes injury time. Anything could have happened. We're no stranger to a late goal between the two. And I'm not even talking about that Troy Deeney one. I think there was a stat that come out before the game where 4 of the last 5 games between Watford and Leicester have had a goal in injury time. And the one game that it didn't, there was a red card in the injury time. So plenty of late drama between the two teams. And yeah, but that 4th goal, when that went in, I just thought, for God's sake, and I was praying that we didn't concede anymore because we looked like a winded animal when that went in.
Andrew, your jokes are worse than mine, and that is really saying something. Rebecca Vardy in the jungle, Jamie Vardy dancing on ice. Don't give up the day job, Andy, whatever you do. I get the 7 minutes injury time, although again, I'm going like, oh God, really? Well, but of course they had to clear the lines, and so they could be seen again. I think had it stayed at 3-2, and we not got that 4th goal, like you say, I think knowing Leicester and how we've been this season, I honestly think you'd have got a point off us.
Yeah, I mean, we had that chance where Kiko Femini crossed the ball in and Erzan Tufan slid in. And especially in that weather, you've just got to go for it. Whether Schmeichel doesn't see it, whether the zip of the ball helps it on its way, you've just got to go for it. And it was a whisker wide of the post. So, and I think that was at 4-2. So, like you say, if that 4th goal doesn't go in, 3-3, 7 minutes of injury time as well. So, if you score early doors and you've equalised in injury time, the win could be in your sails, but it's all ifs and buts, unfortunately. As you say, it wasn't to be.
You did hit the post as well, didn't you, with a great shot?
Yeah, I think that was in the first half. There was another chance as well. There was in the second half, it baffled me. We had Chucho Hernandez on the edge of the box, and all Chucho Hernandez seems to do, he seems to be a little bit of a one-trick pony at times. All he likes to do is, first game of the season, he had the ball on the edge of the 18, and he curled it in, and he scored. Brilliant goal. Ever since then, that's all he tries to do is shoot from the 18 and curl it into the far corner. He had a perfect opportunity to do that against Schmeichel, but he passed it to Josh King, and then Josh King put it wide. Why, for the life of me, he tried that, I do not know. It was a massive let-off for Schmeichel and Leicester, but I suppose when you're losing, your head might not be there. The snow might have played a big part, but yeah, it was disappointing from our point of view, absolutely.
2 questions before I let you go, if that's okay. First one,
Yep.
how big a miss is Troy Deeney going to be? And was it right that he went now?
Yeah, you're speaking to possibly one of the biggest Troy Deeney fans in planet Earth, to be honest, mate. Whether it's because he's from Birmingham as well and he played for Watford, I don't know. But you ask most Watford fans on social media, they will say that he should have gone a few years ago. That might surprise a few listening to this. It is quite evident, I do have to sort of be a bit level-headed with it sometimes and not be too much of a fanboy. But it is evident the last couple of seasons with Watford, he wasn't up to the standard that he was before. It was, I mean, you boys bid 30 million for him the season that you won the league, so it's evident that there was a good player in there, and he was. I truly believe he was worth that at one stage, and he was one of Watford's highest paid players for a reason, and he scored all the goals he has. Do I think we miss him in a footballing ability? I don't. That's the first time I've admitted that as well. So there's probably a few Watford fans watching that thinking, oh my God, Mike's just actually said something negative about Troy Deeney. But I think Josh King is the striker that we've needed for the last couple of seasons, whereas Troy's been trying to fill that role. It's now evident as well that obviously being from where I'm from, he's gone to Birmingham City. I've got a load of Birmingham City supporting mates. They don't think he's had the best start to his Birmingham City career. Do I think the time was right? I think so. I think he realised that he wasn't going to get as many chances this season, so he bowed out. As James says there, that comment at the bottom, he is coming back tomorrow for his first game since leaving. He's a special guest of the club for the Chelsea game tomorrow. I think the only department we miss him in, is his vocal presence, his leadership skills, and in the dressing room. You look at some of the performances.
He did seem to get linked, though, to Leicester virtually every season. And it was like, oh, hang on, we need to negotiate a new contract with the Watford board. I tell you what, we'll say Leicester are interested in us, and we'll get another contract signed. We'll get an extension, and that's all it seemed to be, But just to give you can have your moment here. We're going to say hello to Maisie from Devils United. Great channel. Get over there and give her a follow if anybody's watching it. She's Man United fan, but she does do a lot of women's football and a lot of non-Man United stuff. But just to say, Mike, was it 4-2 you beat United?
4-1.
4-1. Oh no, that's right. You beat them 4-1. We beat them 4-2. Maisie, hello. How the devil are you? Welcome along. I'll teach you to pop in, won't it? Well, I don't know. Man United, I could be talking about Man United all night. Thanks for coming on. But last question, and I mean, I'll be fair to you now. It will be the last question. Hopes for Watford this season, and will Ranieri be there at the end?
Simply to stay up, mate. I will absolutely snap your. I will snap your hand off to 17th, staying up by goal difference, which is better than 1. I will take that all day. I will, I would give a lot of money for that to happen. It simply has to be, for teams can come up and be as ambitious as they want, but they would tell you if you offer them 17th at the end of the season and they'd just come back up, you would take it. We had 5 seasons in the Premier League before we got relegated in 1920. So we were on the way to establishing. Yeah, 2000.
You're dragging your history up there, aren't you?
No, 2019-20 season. So, yeah, we.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I was gonna say.
we had 5 seasons, so we were well on our way to establishing ourselves as a Premier League side.
Yeah.
So we're no strangers to the Premier League, and the fact that we come back up at the first time of asking was brilliant. But we have to be realistic. We have to take 17th. Do I think that Claudio Ranieri will be there? I do. I think we have to have a good January transfer window. As I said earlier, it is a little bit difficult to do so because teams ain't going to sell their best players in Jan, and it's very limited who you can buy. But as long as we're sensible and buy positions that we need, defence, basically, I think Claudio Ranieri will keep us up because it's evident to see how he's trying to play. We're just being let down by the number of injuries. I think it's going to be very, very tight. The injury list, which was released today on our social media, does not make for good reading whatsoever. So it's not great news, especially with 2 big games coming up, Chelsea, Man City. But once we've done them, hopefully a little bit more of a easier, I say easier, no game's easy in the Prem, but an easier running, and hopefully we can pick up some points. And I think Ranieri will be there at the end of the season, and I will take 17th all day.
Great. Well, good luck. I must admit, I always like to see. And no disrespect when I call you a small club, because I still class Leicester as a small club.
We absolutely
compare
are.
them to the so-called Sky's, favourite 6. But I would love to see clubs like yourselves stop up, Brentford, Leeds, and then the bigger clubs. And it isn't going to happen, but I'd love to see Newcastle go down this season.
I think it will.
Richest club in the world when they get relegated.
I think it will.
Well, I don't know if Eddie Howe's the man, but we will see. We will see. Mike, just give your channels a quick shout out again.
Yeah, so on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Voices of the Vic, and on Facebook, it's at Voices of the Vic. We're also on YouTube, so again, just search Voices of the Vic. You can get us on any podcast provider, smart speaker, everything. And my personal account is at MikeDuffy_26.
Brilliant. Mike, it's been great to have you on. Obviously, I probably enjoyed it a little bit more because we won. Sorry about that. No, I'm not really. But it's been great to go to you with having the Nigel Pearson and Claudio Ranieri link as well. It's been great. And take care. Good luck for the rest of the season, except when you play us, of course. I hope you stay up, guys, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you very much for having me. Take care.
Cheers, Mike. All the best. Stay safe. Thanks a lot to Mike there. Brilliant guy. Well, I mean, I'd forgotten about Nigel Pearson until he mentioned him, to be honest with you. But what a nice guy. Yeah, get over there. And his link's going to be in the YouTube description at the end of this show. So get on there, click over and give him your support. This is the first of 3 today. I'm going to need to suck a fisherman's friend by the end of the night. Wonder where he is, though. I'll see if he's home. This is up next. Same channel, same place, but different link. 7 o'clock, sloppy seconds, Southampton. Got Southampton tomorrow night, and yours truly is going. All I will say is, last time I went to watch Leicester play Southampton at night, we won 9-0. Could it? Thanks for watching. I want to say thank you to everybody that was joining the comments. Watford Way, Devils United, Maisie, Andrew, Neil at Beyond the 90 LFC, Jason, Rich, Dan at Turf Morehouse, Brad. Thanks all for popping on. I will be back in about 32 minutes. I need to go and get changed. I can't wear the same. See you at 7. Good night.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City.
Come on, you foxes!